This is We All Be, news-free Dixie for the 21st century. See how it works? Somewhere. Can you dig it?
You said George Washington Carver? Okay, me. Hey, y'all trying to get me out of something. I'm trying to get out of here. Okay, what you said about George Washington Carver? Okay. Yeah, he was castrated. Yep. Thank you for that, Candy Slam 501. He was castrated. Now, you know what? Let me see something. There are recordings of his voice. He had a very, very high voice. Let me see if I can find it, since you did get that $5. But he was castrated because, you know, his mama was kidnapped by the Klan, by the Night Riders. They kidnapped his mom, and she never was heard from again. They kidnapped, they stole his mom. So George Washington Carver was actually raised by his former slave owners, and they were fearful, I guess, that he might make some sexual advances on their daughter, so they had him castrated. Let me see if I can find his voice. Nah, George Washington Carver. I'll try. I'll play it on here if I can find it. Find his voice. Because Dick Gregory talked about it, I think, as well too. So George Washington Carver, fascinating guy. Find his. Yeah, this is what it's about.
And strange as it seems, today all the world knows that George Washington Carver's experiments with the peanut.
Thank you, Mr. Habrella.
Yeah, I found it. I'm gonna play it because y'all want me to play it, okay? I'm gonna play it. It's not funny, but George Washington Carver. And then, you know, I think he got his revenge in type of way because he discovered like how to use the soybeans. You know what soybeans, you know what they do to you? You have too much soy in your diet. Increase estrogen, I guess, allegedly. Well, let me play George Washington Carver voice. Thank you, brother. Candy Slim 501. Thank you for that. For the donation. Yeah, like I said, yeah, feel free to donate, you know, Cash App it, Super Chat, whatever. Let's play George Washington voice. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century.
And strange as it seems, today all the world knows that George Washington Carver's experiments with the peanut have been of enormous value to Southern agriculture. Dr. Carver is right here in the studio with me, and we'll let him tell his own story. Dr. Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Habrella. And it's quite an experience to sit back and have your life story acted out for you.
Oh, but it's a life story with a lot more chapters yet to be written, Dr. Carver.
I certainly hope so, Mr. Habrella. But I'm not as young as I once was. I was somewhere in the 70s on my last birthday.
Dr. Carver, I understand you've raised the peanut to new heights.
Well, the peanut industry is a $60 million business now. At Tuskegee, we've developed more than 200 products from peanuts. We've made everything from axle grease to synthetic rubber, and we're finding out new uses for the peanut constantly.
What are you working on now, Dr. Carver?
The finest use we've been able to make of peanuts is in the treatment of the after effects of infantile paralysis. That's what I'm working on now. Massages with peanut oils has worked miracles in some cases. There is a lot of work to be done, but I feel we're on the trail of something really important.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carver. You have just heard Dr. George Washington Carver, one of America's leading agricultural scientists, a man who has devoted his life to help give the agricultural South a new outlook on life. This great scientist is not ashamed of the fact that he does not birth date, and strange as it seems, he was once traded for a racehorse.
So there you go. That's George Washington Carver. I mean, he had his stuff cashed. It cut him off. They cut his stuff off, his testicles off, or whatever. But he was from my understanding, he was a big football fan. And I knew people from Tuskegee who taught at Tuskegee, who went to Tuskegee, and they talked about George Washington Carver and didn't care about money because he invented a lot of things for uses for the peanut and a lot of other things. He's not put a patent on. He puts on. I think he got some patents for some things that was not real big money makers. But imagine if he patented all his inventions. Tuskegee, even if he didn't like money, because George Washington Carver didn't care about money. He felt like his gifts were from God, and that it was meant for him to share with the world. He was kind of like a Tesla, like a Nicholas Tesla. Like they didn't want to charge for their gifts; they wanted to give it to humanity. So imagine the stuff if he got certain things patented. If he got a patent for all the inventions and innovations he did, let's say he left those patents to Booker T. Washington, to Tuskegee, Tuskegee University. Tuskegee University would probably have a way, way bigger endowment than Harvard University. They would have way more money than Harvard University. Y'all talking about some prime at HBCU Jackson State. You know that if George Washington Carver got his stuff all patented, and they say he left all his stuff to Tuskegee, how much money they will have? You know how much money HBCUs will be begging, and you know how powerful that would be. But you know that I talked about Henry Wallace, the vice president under Roosevelt, his second vice president that they replaced because they couldn't trust him politically because they thought he was like a Manchurian candidate for Russia or something like that, for the Soviet Union. That's another story. But he actually created a company. He was inspired by his Jegna, George Washington Carver. He created an agricultural company that ended up selling back in 1999 for I think like $9 billion. He was inspired by the work of George Washington Carver, who was a close friend of him growing up, a childhood friend of his Jegna. Ended up creating an agricultural company that ended up selling to, I forgot the name of the corporation, but I think they brought it for like $9 billion. Now I can look all that up. But see, this is what we do. We want to give away everything, like our music. They don't steal it as so much that we teach it to them. Like George Gershwin, his master teacher was a black man from Philadelphia named Lucky Roberts. You can look that up. See, they don't want to talk about this stuff. And George Gershwin was Jewish. Like I said, I don't have a problem with the Jewish people, but I'm just talking about history. His mentor or Jegna was Lucky Roberts, this stride piano player from Philadelphia who became a millionaire by selling real estate up in New York. That's how he made his money. But he taught George Gershwin how to do piano and all that stuff and composition. And George Gershwin, music hero, was Lieutenant James Reese Europe. He was listening to him play at Baron Wilkins nightclub up in Harlem. He sit on the sidewalk listening to James Reese Europe, the man who brought jazz to Europe, one of my heroes. But anyway, yeah. So y'all heard George Washington. That's his actual voice. Like I said, he was castrated, so he won't sleep with his former slave owner's daughter. But he was a big football fan, from my understanding. Oh yeah, the story about George Washington Carver that y'all said Lionel Richard, but a lot of these people don't support the HBCU. A lot of these alums don't support the HBCUs. It's not on Dion. Dion did what he had to do, but it's not. People want to blame Dion. Did his thing, man. I love Dion. I wish he would have stayed, but all the stuff coming out, I understand or overstand why he didn't stay. And like really, what Dion went through down in Jackson State is a wake up call for me, because like, I'm not really appreciated in Memphis, and a prophet is always without honor, and I'm looking at other options for me. Like, where can I go to be celebrated, not just tolerated? So I respect Dion, because I'm not making a lot of money doing this stuff. I don't know how I survived. This is by the grace of the righteous ancestors and universal soul God. So I want to say this about George Washington Carver, because you got me talking about this. Look, George Washington Carver didn't care about money. According to people that's in the know that I talked to from Tuskegee, George Washington Carver never cashed any of his work checks. He never cashed his checks. He didn't care about money. He just cared about utilizing his gifts to serve humanity. That's it. I think Henry Ford used to visit Tuskegee. He used to have so much reverence and respect for George Washington Carver. And it'll be stories where students would need money. Like they'll come to George Washington Carver for money. And he'll tell them, go to that dresser drawer and just pull out one of them checks. And I'll sign it over to you. Like he was like, I need money, Professor Washington, Dr. Washington, I need money, Dr. Carver. And he said, let's go to my dresser drawer and get one of them checks and I'll sign it over and you can have it. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And he couldn't even, and they robbed him of a chance to reproduce. And the white devils robbed him of his ability to reproduce that genius. That's wicked, man. Anyway, thank you for that that detour. I don't know. It's about 20 minutes talking about George Washington. Yeah, we talk about Operation Paperclip. Yeah, I mean, really, the white American businessman created and invented the Nazis, man. Like Prescott Bush, the patriarch of the Bush family, his Wall Street fellows, Henry Ford. They created it. The government, CIA, space program, all that stuff. See, the thing about Tuskegee, because we look, they did already have it, but they thought they were being cured. That's the problem. They were not being cured. They were being studied. They thought they were getting cured, but they were passing on to their loved ones and, affected their seeds and descendants and stuff like that. So they thought they were getting cured, but they were actually just being studied to see the effects, the long-term effects of syphilis. They might have injected some of those folks with syphilis, but some of these folks already had the syphilis thing, Yeah.
And so if you want to open up the phone line, y'all can talk about anything.
Oh, yeah, you are good. You are a showman. You are a master showman. I tell you, you know perfect timing and everything. I want to read this quick quote from Henry Ford. You inspired me to look this up. Henry Ford, the Falcon Ford Motor Company, said this. He said, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there will be a revolution before tomorrow morning." That's Henry Ford saying this. So
Henry Ford.
Yes, sir.
Say that way slow. It again. Say it slow.
Say it slow. Yes, sir.
Wait, hold on. Let me tell you who the Ford brothers are, right?
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, who's the Ford brothers? My grandmother don't know.
How they make cars, right? They made cars, right?
Yeah, but how'd they come to claim? How was they claim to fame?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm not sure.
They supposed to invent the automobile, the Model T Ford. They ain't invented nothing. The Duray brothers out of Massachusetts invented the automobile. The Ford boys stole it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's why the Ford family never get credited for inventing the automobile. George Washington Carver, the great black scientist, when he was in Tuskegee, him and Henry Ford was ace buddies. So he told Henry Ford one day, see, they was making one car at a time. There wasn't no mass production.
Okay.
So he told Henry Ford, he said, if you take this package I'm giving you, this is my study on plants. And if you have your engineers study this package here, you'll be able to make more than one car at a time. You have an assembly line. Now, you think it's an accident that all over the world the mass production is called the plant?
Wow.
The plant all over the world, care where you are, It's called the plant. That's that black man, George Washington Carver. Okay? And that's how they came. That's when they said, well, they claimed that they made cars for the little people who could afford it.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that jingle review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.